Saint, what I find very interesting is that absolutely everyone and everything has an instruction manual. Absolutely everything. Everything has instructions, and some things people can just do naturally because it's innate. But I think one of the most important things that we always have to understand is knowing the nature of the beast, knowing who you're dealing with. Because by knowing the instructions that come along with that person, you know better your relationship, or if you can even have a relationship with that person. You'll understand if you're compatible. Because everything has a relationship, and certain things are repellents for each other. For example, I have some people that I can trust with thousands and thousands of dollars, and I know for sure, based on how we know each other, that they will return my money if I've loaned them some or things like that. I can trust them with large amounts of money. But I couldn't trust those same people with knowing where I live, because that's a whole different situation. Then I have some people that I can trust with my family, my immediate family. But I wouldn't trust them with $20. Because I know the nature of the person that I'm dealing with. And when you're around people, naturally, you should know their weaknesses. You should know how they tick because they're around you. And a lot of times, a lot of us get in situations and we have contracts with people who have weaknesses and variations of different situations. And then you end up having an incomplete mission or business agreement. So that's why I know that. Now, the same people that I wouldn't trust where I live, I can trust them in business. So that's what I'm saying. I know the nature of the beast. I know who I can bring around my dog and who I can't based on how they act. And I know how my dog is. And I always tell people, like with me, people know that they can't bring nobody loud and disrespectful around me, because everybody's not going to be able to have the same discipline when it comes to that. So I'm okay with knowing that about myself. I can't be around disrespectful people. So I love solitude. Then there's people that I know if I'm going to go to a social event, and I know that they're very extroverted and they love to be social, that's the person I'm going to pick to go to a social event. I have friends that are very introverted, and they necessarily can't go around a lot of people. But I know that I can bring them to certain events where there's not going to be a lot of communication. Because most quiet people are deep observers. They observe everything. People that talk a lot, most of the time they need someone observing them or watching their back because they're the center. So this is by understanding the nature of the beast. That's one of the most interesting things. I always say this, that I've always been amazed at the fact that a mouse in the presence of a serpent knows to be so still. And when I was younger, of course, I would always be so intrigued with that, the way that animals and their instinct, how the lion creeps before it's getting ready to pounce on a deer. Or how the deer, knowing the nature of the lion or the cougar or the cheetah, it knows to listen very attentively. It's very attentive, it's very observant, and it'll listen for up to 20 minutes. And if it hears the slightest sound, it's equipped with enough speed and agility to outrun a cheetah or a lion or a cougar. So it's just amazing how everyone has their specific adaptations. The porcupine with its shrills. It doesn't have to be aggressive. It has shrills. So the source has equipped all of us with different gifts of discernment and awareness to be aware. So when we're dealing with a major enemy, a big enemy like we have to understand that they come with ulterior motives. They don't come with horns and pitchforks. They come with a smile. They come with a grin. They're acting friendly for a favor later. This is their nature. But also in their nature, you also understand their track record. They have always came in peace and left nothing but destruction. And this is the track record. This is that friend that you know. The one that if you can leave with a lot of money, or that one that you can leave around your family. Now, according to our big enemy, from the experience that you have, is that someone that you want to trust with your health? Is that someone you want to trust with your food? Because it's already been showed to you the nature of the beast. So, even when we're driving, even if we can drive, you still got to watch the people around you that's driving, because you don't know how they drive. You have to know your area, your perimeter. So in this case, when we're dealing with big, dangerous enemies, and their track record has showed us that they care less, then therefore, what do? You stay out the way of that type of beast. You don't go around an aggressive or a rapid animal. You don't do that. You don't go around something that you know is hungry and it don't want to do nothing but eat. Because everything that a predator does is based off hunger. Scavenger, hunger. And unfortunately, when you're a prey, you have to outwit, you have to be very observant, like a rabbit. Rabbits are very clean. They don't even leave a scent. So that's for a reason. So these principles and these understandings are very necessary when understanding the nature of a beast. This is my understanding of that, because more than information, nothing is better than the comprehension, the understanding of what you're up against. And not only is it best to know your enemy, but sometimes your greatest enemy is yourself. So it's always best to know yourself and your enemy. So know who you're dealing with. It's very important, because we're in a very deceptive dimension.